So I'd like to bring to the stage Chris Sands. He is a partner of Profi 2020. Profi is one of our DEO preferred partners this year, and they've done wonders for a lot of our members in terms of full-service financial consulting and accounting. So please help me welcome Chris Sands.
Thank you, Darren, for that introduction. It's always great to be here, and I want to tell you that we co-founded a dental CPA firm focused on growth-oriented dental practices, and we currently serve practices in 38 states, a little over 270 practice locations. And I thought today what I would do in my 10 minutes of impact with you is issue you some challenges. You should know that your level of success is directly related to the quality of your systems and your team's effective use of those systems. And I don't think I could have followed a better presentation with my first line than what I just did. If you want to build a multi-million-dollar practice, enterprise, empire, you need systems that can deliver at a multi-million-dollar level. And if you have Pee-wee financials, you are set up to get a Pee-wee valuation. So I wanted to relate this to a few things in dentistry, and again, I could not have been set up any better for this. First thing is, in dentistry, just the history of imaging. In 1895, the first radiograph showed up. 30 years later, in 1925, we had the development of the 5-film bite wing. 30 years after that, we have the first panoramic X-ray. And today, we're in the digital and 3D imaging era. Relating it to something outside of dentistry and how tracking and systems have evolved, take a look at sports. In 1939, we had the very first televised game, and it was not in color like this picture, but we the camera panned over to take a shot of the scoreboard. It wasn't until 1965 that the first graphics appeared on a TV screen. And a few years later, we started to see scores updated in the corner of the game periodically as the game changed. And then in 1996, Fox revolutionized sports reporting with the Fox box, a constant graphic showing the stats. And then our modern day sports, we know that we see a multitude of different stats show up. Similarly, in accounting, the history has changed. Before the pre-Roman Empire, there was the abacus. And then for pretty much all of the 1900s, we were on paper. And of course, we know today that we have technology and systems available to us to use. But here's the question. Are you getting the maximum out of them, and what are the benefits of that? Okay, and I'm going to go quickly here, but here's the deal. Number one, awareness. Are you running the business blind? It's the number one problem for business owners. And number two problem is cash flow. Do you understand how to use your financials to plan and manage your cash flow? Number three, and more importantly, instead of being in a retroactive, which is what our industry is in accounting, are you using those financials to be able to forecast future growth and investments that you're going to need to make? Number four, accountability, and I think this is a big one. For us to keep score, winners keep score, to track your goals, and to operate off facts and not just feelings about how you feel about your enterprise. Ultimately, this room is about scale and scalability, and in order to do that, you have to use those financials to identify trends, optimize, and leverage your size by your record keeping to become more profitable and to continue to grow. Are you bank ready at all times? And at some level, are you investor ready at all times? With clear financials for a higher valuation. If you're sitting at that negotiating table, how much of the strength is on your side of the table during that negotiation? It's going to come down to a lot of those systems, and one of those largest ones are the financials. So I ask you, what is the quality of your accounting system? This is typical, what we see. Alphabetical order, just a printout from QuickBooks, no organization to it, no metrics, and it takes time to figure out the business this way. What exactly do you use that type of financial for? Or have you modernized your financials? Are you state of the art where you have clear metrics? And if you want to see samples of this, please come to our booth. Clear metrics, and you know exactly where you fall, and you learn how to pull the levers and change in those areas to change and grow the business. Do you look at a running 12-month of previous data to use for future forecasting and projections? Do you have turnkey KPI reporting? This is a sample of one type of KPI reporting that we issue. So you know your EBITDA updated every single month and annualized, and you can make that argument in an industry where EBITDA is argued and manipulated, and you have that data to make that argument in your favor. Do you know how much cash you're keeping on hand? Do you know what your monthly break-even is? Do you know where your AR stands real time every month? And do you know if all of your collections are hitting the bank? So is your current accounting system, if you want to walk the walk, is your current accounting system up to the standards of an established DSO and that quality? And we get to look under the hood of all the practices in multi-locations, that emerging space. And I'm still shocked at what I see in the lack of infrastructure, especially in the financial reporting area. So here's some of the keys. Number one, your financials have got to be timely. At bare minimum, they should be timely to the month, and you should receive them by the 15th of each month. And in our world, in our firm, if they're not received by the 15th, they're free. If they're not timely, just forget everything else. If they're 3 months behind, 6 months behind, you're blind. Are they accurate? Do you know if they're accurate? Are they reviewed by anyone with an accounting degree or in the industry? And are they reconciled according to the generally accepted accounting principles? More importantly, are they useful to you? When you get them, do you know how to read them, what they mean, and why you should be using them? Are they easy to read? Are they organized in a meaningful chart of accounts? And number four, are they delegated, or are you still doing them? You know, QuickBooks did not make an accounting degree irrelevant, the same way that I worked in a dental practice, I know how to use Dentrix, and it did not make the dental degree irrelevant. In a do-it-yourself society, sometimes I think we forget that. So it does not have to be done by you. If your hourly rate is $250 an hour or $300 an hour, if the cost is less than that to do it, you're hurting your business by doing it yourself. Okay, so here's the real challenges I'm going to issue. Does your talk match your walk? Some things that we see from an accounting perspective for growth-oriented DSOs that are problems. And these are looking beyond just the numbers, the information that we gather as we see the numbers. Are all of your office locations functional full-time, at least 4+ days a week? Are they maxing out their capacity revenue per chair? Are they each individually profitable, or is one supporting the others? Or do you own some junk dots on a map? And I do believe there's going to be a second evolution of practices being unloaded for some of the junk dots on the map that are being collected. And we need to fix that. The model is not just to add offices. The model is to make each office profitable to fund the future growth. Do you have at least one more full-time doctor than the number of locations you have? This is about risk management. If you have 3 full-time offices, do you have at least 4 full-time doctors? Are you capturing 50 to 70 new patients per month per full-time doctor? Do you have a profitable win-win associate doctor compensation plan set up? Win, win, win for the doctor, for the practice, for the future growth, for the retention. Do you have an associate retention benefits package designed and in place? Have you designed and documented the ladder for doctors on their path to partnership? And do you protect the business in the event of a loss of a key person, a high-producing doctor? These are the things that we see the results of in the numbers. So are you profitable? Are you paying down debt? That's another big issue we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of debt rolling and no strategy on how to get that debt paid down. And the debt creates a phantom tax. Maybe jot that down. Debt creates a phantom tax. It eats up margin. And if you want to talk more about that, come see us at the booth. Are you saving cash? We see a lot of practices that are maybe even retirement plan rich and cash poor. And they're not reinvesting enough back into the business for growth. Can the business run without you? Do you know your numbers? Can you prove it? And ultimately, all of this is going to show itself at the point of sale. So I encourage you, if any of this sparked any questions or doubt in your mind, please come by, visit us at the booth, see our sample financials, ask us about what we can do to help you scale and grow to a higher level. And thank you, Darren, thank you, Jacob, for your partnership and an excellent organization. The meetings are awesome every single year. Thank you so much.